The international break is over, club football is back, and welcome back to Matchday Live here on Fox's Hub as Leicester City look to build on their first win of the season a few weeks ago against Bournemouth.
Simply put, Leicester City could really do with a win. Steve Cooper's side are yet to taste victory in the Premier League this season. Is this afternoon against Bournemouth when all of that changes. They pushed Arsenal all the way last week but came away with nothing. 3 points, the order of the day at King Power Stadium. Pass from Justin, lifts it over the top for Buonanotte, who's into the penalty area and onto his left and firing into the roof of the net for Leicester City. Leicester lead in a huge game in the Premier League, and it's Facundo Buonanotte. And there's the whistle. Leicester have done it. The 3 points they so desperately craved have been secured.
Well, that was at home a couple of weeks ago. Today, the Foxes travel away, ironically, to another South Coast side as they face Southampton at St Mary's Stadium. We're under an hour now away from kick-off. A chance for the Foxes to win back-to-back Premier League games, which would see them move on to 9 points at the start of the season. Welcome along to Matchday Live here on Fox's Hub with me, Dan Bates. We've got Jerry Taggart and Matty Fryatt alongside me here in the studio today. How are you both doing? I feel like it's been a little bit of a while since we've seen you.
Yeah, a little bit of a while, but good to be back on, and yeah, all well, thank you.
And you're keeping busy. Obviously, you're doing a lot of other media work as well, so you're seeing a lot of the Foxes so far this season.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them. Obviously, on the VT of the Bournemouth game, what a huge win it was. It's sort of been coming, there's been signs, but it was vital to get them 3 points before the international break, but probably deserved. First half was really good, so hopefully they'll be able to build on that today against a team that are finding it difficult so far in the Premier League.
Good afternoon, as ever, to you, Jerry. How are you?
Good afternoon, Dan.
Nice little international break, but you've been busy doing lots of
the club been keeping me busy, which is great. You know, a couple of podcasts that'll soon be out there in the ether for everyone to watch, hopefully. Bit of a training ground tour for some of the box holders as well, which is a bit of a great insight for them to see what the players go through every day at the new training ground. So yeah, pretty busy.
And busy for the players as well, I guess, Matty. It is the international break. We know loads have gone away. It's the sign of a good team, isn't it? That you have a lot away during an international break. But the ones that have stayed, they'll have been putting in some hard work. It's not a 2-week holiday, is it?
No, it isn't. But at the same time, there's less pressure. It's a bit of a relief in terms of there's no game at the end of the week. So, but I'm sure there's been, with the ones who have stayed, a lot of work's gone in. It's just getting the ones back from international duty and adjusted to it for obviously a big game. It's a strange sort of week, but it was massive because of the result that you can sort of ease off a little bit in the week while bodies are away, and then when they come back in, be ready to go again.
Yeah, I've actually went to the last international break. Steve Cooper invited a few of the lads down to go and watch training, and I've got to say it was pretty intense. You know, there was no let up. Okay, it was a Thursday, and after Thursday's training, they were given the weekend off, as you would suspect, to rest up and then get going in the build up for that week's build up till the following game. But I mean, it was pretty, and there was a lot of bodies around as well, which is good, because normally when you're a manager and it's international break, invariably you're left with very few first team players. But there was a lot of bodies around, and the training sessions were pretty intense.
No let up for the Foxes players, no let up from us either. We've got plenty more coming your way as we build up to kick-off. We'll take a look back and a further in-depth look back at that victory over Bournemouth. So vital to get that first 3 points of the season, wasn't it? And what a brilliant goal by Facundo Buonanotte. We'll sit a few of the lads down that played an instrumental role in that victory. They chat in the box about it. And you knew straight away, Jerry, didn't you?
I did.
Look at
Absolutely.
that. Bullet header from Jerry Taggart against Southampton. We'll back some classic goals against the Saints. Before we do any of that, though, we've got to get all of today's team news, of course. And Steve Cooper, following that first win over Bournemouth, has decided to only make the one change. It's you can say it's an attacking one. It's in the attacking positions. Bilal El Khanous comes in. Jordan Ayew drops to the bench. It's the same back five we've seen pretty much all season, isn't it? Mads Hermansen in goal. Christensen, Fast, Coley and Justin. Skip and Ndidi are the two central midfielders, with Mavididi, El Khanous and Buonanotte lining up in behind Jamie Vardy. We'll talk just in a moment, or maybe get Matty Fright's thoughts on if that will be the order of things, with El Khanous in the middle, Buonanotte on the right. On the bench, it's Danny Ward, Connor Cody, Abdul Fatawu, Harry Winks, Bobby De Cordova-Reid, Jordan Ayew, Ricardo Samare and Odsonne Edouard. From a Southampton point of view, they have 1 point from their opening 7 games. They're also the lowest scorers in the Premier League. This is how they line up under Russell Martin today for their 8th game, of course, of the season. It's Aaron Ramsdale in goal, Manning, Bednarek and Harwood Bellis across the back 4. Kyle Walker-Peters and Sugawara are the 2 wing backs. Aribo and Downs in midfield, with Fernandez and Dibbling supporting Archer, who is their lone forward this afternoon. Let's concentrate though, Matty, as we've said, on the Leicester team, on those 3 in particular in behind Jamie Vardy. It's an attacking lineup. It's fair to say that, isn't it?
It really is gone super positive in terms of, I looked at it initially and thought maybe Winks might come in, but no, decided to go like for like in terms of Ayew, switch it around, and possibly looking at Fatawu after the his exploits last season. So that might have been a consideration, but no, gone positive with the 3 players supporting Jamie Vardy. So yeah, be on the front foot and get after Southampton team. Are a bit fragile at the minute.
Well, contrary to what Matt thinks, I think leaving Harry Winks out, sort of spoke for itself. And it's not. I'm not trying to be critical of Harry Winks, but Leicester got his clean sheet, the first clean sheet. So no surprise that Harry Winks has been left out again because of that. For me, Jordan Ayew's the big, head shaker for me. I thought he was unreal 2 weeks ago against Bournemouth. Now I can see, understandably, I agree with Matt. Say he's gone ultra positive, but he's away from home, and this is a 6-pointer still. And Ipswich and Everton play in another 6-pointer today. So you're thinking, is the balance of the team right? Well, obviously have to wait and see, and obviously Jordan Ayew's on the bench to come off, which invariably will. But you could look at it and say, well, why didn't he flip it and start with Ayew and bring El Khanous on? Because you would start with Buonanotte, because again, he's like our little jack in the box at the minute. So yeah, it's just a little bit of food for thought there.
On that one, I was thinking in terms of Winks, indeed he might have gone as the 10, like he did against Palace, and obviously can press off the ball, gets himself in attacking positions, and the assist at Palace was excellent. But instead, the manager just decided to go very positive in terms of the attacking players there, and sort of go and express themselves with obviously Skip and Ndidi protecting, and the back 4 that kept that clean sheet the other week and solid there, but the players in front of that to go and express themselves and try and win Leicester the game.
Yeah, well, one thing, Jerry's, Leicester have only won 1 of their last 14 away games in the Premier League. Has he then decided, right, let's go out and let's try and really win this game? Obviously, they want to win the game, but they thought, get the goals early, hopefully, get into a really commanding position.
Well, I think, with what Matt was saying about bringing Harry Winks back in, or not as the case may be, then you're trying to keep that solid foundation that got you over the line against Bournemouth. Now, yes, they did ride their luck a bit at times against Bournemouth, but the fact, when the players walked off the pitch with a 0 against their name, that should have done them the world of good. Should have given them a big confidence lift going into this game today. Can they now replicate that? Yes, it's a difficult away game against a fellow struggling team who have only scored, I think it's 4 goals, I think it is, in the Premier League this season. So I think you've got that solid base, but you've got obviously the two fullbacks that like to get forward at times. and then in the forward lines you've got that quality that, you know, hopefully can cause some damage to the Southampton backline.
On that point, I think he's flipped it as well and thinking Southampton are vulnerable at the back, individual mistakes, conceding a hell of a lot of goals. They like to play, and it might be that counter play where you can get it in El Canouse. Buonanotte, we saw his brilliance the other week, and Mavididi, the players that can light up a game and be really effective on the counter and look at it that way. In terms of Southampton, as they do, seem to have a lot of the ball, but it's what Leicester can do in the counter, but you've still got that base. Obviously, the back players and that stability and Skip and Ndidi in front.
We're going to look at the Bournemouth game in just a moment, Jerry, but you've already referenced the clean sheet a couple of times because it was so important,
massive,
wasn't it, to get that? Well, the 3 points was great, don't get me wrong. The clean sheet, he'll have been so delighted with that as well. Yeah,
without a doubt. You know, there's nothing worse, even from a forward's perspective. So, let's say, for instance, Matty Fryatt scores a 75th minute goal to put us in front, and then your team concedes 5-10 minutes later. It's just soul destroying after you've worked that hard to get your noses in front for, I know it's not the first time, but you know, the game that springs to mind is the Crystal Palace game away from home where they played brilliantly and just and somehow managed to, you know, concede 2 goals and walked away with a draw. It must have been soul destroying. So to keep that 0 next to your name when you've done all the hard work, i.e. breaking the deadlock, getting your noses in front, riding your luck at times, to then come off and see it through to the end is a massive confidence boost for everybody.
Yeah, well, let's take a look back then at that game a couple of weeks ago. Of course, it was another Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff here at King Power Stadium, and as Jerry said, Leicester came away with a 0 next to the name, and there was a 1 next to Bournemouth.
The other side of the centre circle, he should be covering Wout faster and coming on to that ball.
What a pass from Justin, lifts it over the top for Buonanotte, who's into the penalty area and onto his left and firing into the roof of the net for Leicester City. Leicester lead in a huge game in the Premier League, and it's Facundo Buonanotte. Rifles it into the roof. Excellent pass from Justin, and that's given this place a lift. 1-0 Foxes.
Oh, what a fantastic finish from Buonanotte.
Ndidi for Fass, on for Justin, and Justin for Buonanotte, and Buonanotte on for Vardy, who's in for 2. Well, you never see that from Jamie Vardy. You never see that from Jamie Vardy. He's missed the chance one-on-one. Bodies to aim for Bournemouth. Defensive figures in there for Leicester. One of them, Zabani, and his header, I think, just comes off of the outside of the post. Oh, yeah. Well, Zabani was one of those figures which you could clearly see was going to make a charge for the ball. He managed to get his head on the end of it and doing a good job of keeping Leicester in that defensive position. Okoli looks to turn away. Christensen, first time ball into the centre of the pitch. Buonanotte's not alert to it, and it's going to spin here for Christie. Excellent save by Mads Hermansen, down to his right. And Bournemouth, they really sucked Leicester into the trap there. And the Foxes equal to the shot thanks to a big right palm from their Danish goalkeeper. Excellent save.
Yeah, great save.
Into the area for Bournemouth, onto his left, crossed into the area, headed onto the crossbar by Ouattara and behind. It'll be a goal kick, but once again, AFC Bournemouth hitting the woodwork. They hit the post with a header, and they've hit the crossbar now with a header. And this time Ouattara, who looks to the heavens, and it stays Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0.
Well, they rode their luck at times, didn't they, the Foxes? But all that matters is that final score. Of course, Leicester picking up their first win of the season. Jerry, you were with us. Obviously, we heard your voice a couple of times there on
a bit of a surprise, that. You don't normally
add that in. Yeah, how vital was that, do you think?
I expect massively vital, you know, especially going into the international break as well. It just gives everybody a lift. Matt's already touched on, you know, the training week. Pressure's off slightly, everybody can enjoy it a bit more. The manager's not walking around like a bear with a sore head. He's got a smile on his face. It's all the staff smiling, the players smiling. So, and obviously the league table as well looking a little bit healthy. And it also helps, you know, with the teams that are in and around you, which there was a couple of not unable to pick up positive results at that last Premier League weekend. So it's just a massive result. As you say, clean sheet, 3 points in the bag. You can't ask for any more at the minute.
Yeah, on that, I think what was vital for the victory was the start. In terms of the first half performance, out the traps, didn't let Bournemouth settle. You get a goal, could have been maybe a couple up at half time. And then it's only natural that you're going to defend a little bit deeper, protect what you've got. But the boys got over the line. Quite a few blocks in there, right fast. Thought he was outstanding from the bits I saw. And that's what you need. And then it sets you up, like Jerry said, that clean sheet, the first win. And then you can build from that. And that international week, it's more relaxed, but you still have the standards for the next game, the expectations. It just leaves that bit of pressure that might be there. As I'd rather be in Steve Cooper's shoes and say Russell Martin's at the minute. I bet that 2 weeks for him was not ideal.
Yeah. Was it Wout Faes you gave your man of the match to, Jerry?
There was 3 or 4 players that were outstanding. You know, I've mentioned Ayew, thought he was brilliant. Oliver Skipp, superb. But I thought Wout Faes just dealt with everything that was chucked at him in the last game, and you know, was covering as well. You know, he got his positional play absolutely spot on. So I'm always looking at stuff like that anyway. You know, that comes straight to me. So, and you know, there has been times where Wout has struggled with, especially his positional play, but against Bournemouth, he got it absolutely spot on, time and time again.
Let's concentrate on the goal then, Matty. You liked scoring goals, didn't you? You scored some good ones in your time. This was excellent from Facundo Buonanotte. It's all about him, isn't it, really?
It really is. It's the balance. That little jink, once he's inside of the box, the defender knows he can't touch him, just weaves inside, and then the finish on top of it. It's a brilliant goal in terms of wizardry from the wing and creating something from pretty much nothing. To be fair, it was a decent ball in, but then that little jink, that half a yard, and then the finish is excellent as well. And yeah, really top goal. Yeah. But he's settled so well, hasn't he, in terms of coming in. He's scored a couple of goals now, made a couple. I think it helps when he's had a Premiership experience as well with Brighton, and then he's continued this season. It just makes you settle a bit easy, and obviously the goals and assists aid to that as well. So he's been a really standout player so far in the season.
Yeah, I think, you know, you look at the finish again where he puts it in the roof of the net, and you look at the keeper who's actually gone to his near post, and say invariably you normally go low and hard at that near post, but he's gone, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to drive it high and hard into the roof of the net, and it gives the keeper zero chance whatsoever of saving that. But as Matt says, even the build up to that goal was you know, electric. You know, James Justin, who had a great game, well, that little flick over the top, what a way to pass that was. And then, as you say, it's all down to Buonanotte's individual ability. The defender, unfortunately, has absolutely no chance of stopping that. It's either it ends up in the back of the net or it ends up being a penalty, one of the two.
Yeah, is that a confidence thing, being able to do that and doing that in a game?
It's ability as well. Obviously, you mentioned James Justin there. The confidence the week before with the 2 goals at Arsenal. He's played a clever ball in behind. The space there to attack. And then that's that individual brilliance, that balance. And he's done that from a young age and carried it on. And the defender's in knots. He's falling over. He's done it all ends up. And then, as Jerry said, the finish is brilliant in terms of he's lifted it. So even if the keeper goes that way, gives him very little chance as well. So, yeah, full of confidence and a really good goal to win any game.
No surprise then again, Jerry, he's in the starting 11. There were maybe a few question marks. He was called up late by Argentina, so he flew out there, didn't play any minutes, but he's been part of it. He's flown back fairly late. Long journey, obviously. A lot of people were questioning maybe would he start, would he not start? But he's in there.
Yeah, I mean,
him not playing, has that helped? Has that aided that?
I'm not sure. I'm sure he would have been training. He would have been training hard with the squad anyway. So, you know, it's not like he's been sat on a beach for 2 weeks or 10 days or whatever watching training or by the poolside or whatever. So, yeah, I think there's... And to be fairness now, they're all accustomed, these players now, to travelling away long distances for international duty. He's not the only one who's done that. You know, there's numerous Leicester City players who were away on international duty. It's not ideal. It's not 100%. I can only say that from speaking from my experiences of playing international football. But that's just me. You know, it affects people in different ways. The travelling side of getting, you know, the travelling side of getting to your international fixtures.
Yep, speaking of then the international break, we caught up with a number of the players in the box at Seagrave who were involved in that win. Sadly, no Facundo Buonanotte, of course, because he was away with Argentina. But here's some of the influential figures in that first win of the season.
First 3 points of the season for us, for our confidence, and for the fans as well.
It's always nice to get the first win on the board.
It's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Winning, especially at home in front of our fans.
For sure.
Massive, massive win.
Happiness.
The supporters were brilliant, and those difficult moments, especially in the second half, we're very grateful for the support. It's that extra boost to see out the game.
Bit of relief and like hard work over the past few months from everyone at the club.
Working at my game every day, trying to give the best performance every weekend.
The way we've been playing and the chances that we've had in games.
That we could have got more out of them, so it was nice to finally get that win.
Yeah, no, massive relief.
A brilliant goal.
Facundo did all the work.
Fakundo's he's a genius, he's a genius.
Not bad assist.
I think that you can all see the talent that he has. And
cutting in on his left foot, yeah, he's jinky and he just off balances defenders and
produced that magic at the right time. It gave us something to hold on to for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think he was brilliant throughout the whole game, to be honest. Not just on the ball, but working hard for the team. Great performance from Facundo.
He was a good finisher, man.
It's my first experience of a win in the league game at the King Power, so yeah, I want to see plenty more of those.
Well, that was Oliver Skip there, Steffi Mavididi and James Justin talking us through that victory over Bournemouth. For more videos like that, all you need to do is head onto the app or onto Fox's Hub, of course, on lcfc.com. If you're only just joining us here on Matchday Live, Steve Cooper has made one change to that side that beat the Cherries a couple of weeks ago. This is the side that travels down to the South Coast and starts the game against Southampton. That one change being in the number 10 position, Bilal El Khanous coming in, Jordan Ayew dropping to the bench. Jerry, it was interesting hearing from the players there, wasn't it? In particular, each of them basically saying, we felt like the win was coming, or we were already due a win. So many times already in the season, it's not like Leicester had been being battered in games at all, was it? They were close to getting the win. Eventually, they did get over the line. Yeah,
and near enough every game. You know, they've been, and I'm on about the ones that they've drew. I'm on the ones that they've lost. But even in the ones they've lost, they've been, you know, been very, very close to getting results. Whether that be a draw or a win, as I said. So the performances have been good, and the issue basically, from my point of view, has been the conceding of soft goals, and thankfully that stopped against Bournemouth, and that's somewhere now where they can, you know, plant their flag in the ground and move on from there and say, right, can we get back-to-back clean sheets? But yeah, definitely the performances have been decent, and you see that in the performances. Even though they're losing games by the odd goal, they're not getting downhearted by that, and they're going into the next game and putting in another good performance. And thankfully, eventually, they've got their 3 points.
Yeah, I think on that point, it's obviously it was good to see the start of the game last time out and how that affects it, and then hold on for the victory. But it's been building in terms of when you look at the whole season. I don't think there's been a complete performance yet. So there's still room for improvement in that. But every game, as you both touched on, Leicester been in those games, whether it been losing by 1 goal or a draw being a 2-0 situation. But so far, it's either they started the first half really well and haven't kicked on, or where they've shown resilience and haven't come out the blocks that quick and then fall out a point from a position where it didn't look feasible. But it's probably Steve Cooper will be looking at, and it's that transition, trying to embed his team, his players and ideas on the team, which is building, and then going on from there in terms of trying to get that complete performance. It was obviously a relief, the Bournemouth one, but can it be more consistent over the 90 minutes as opposed to in moments, which is only natural anyway?
Is that because it's a new squad and a new group, and you even look at the pictures now at the St Mary's, and you think there are a number of new players in that starting line?
I think so. I think there's a lot of inexperience, you know, in the squad overall. I think for the time being, I think Leicester will probably have to put the complete performance to one side for most games. And just try and dig in and be strong and be difficult to beat. And if they do that, then slowly but surely, what Matty's just been talking about, the potential is there for that to come. But at the minute, being hard to beat, being well organised, and getting the ball to the players that you know can cause problems, which Leicester have plenty of, by the way, in the forward lines. They've got plenty of pace, plenty of ability. So let's use those forward players, and they've got plenty of structure and composure in the middle of the park as well.
And you're looking, Matty, at a Southampton side that have scored the least amount of goals in the Premier League this season, conceded joint second most. Mm-hmm. So the stats say that Leicester could go there potentially as favourites, and with the confidence of that win a couple of weeks ago, they should be bouncing down the motorway down to the Southampton.
You'd think so, and also you can't look back on yesteryear, but the performances last season and the heavy defeats Southampton suffered, players who played well in those games. Obviously, there's players that have come in, left, and it is different. Obviously, different manager. Russell Martin's still there, of course, but Steve Cooper's come in. But you can also take confidence from that as well, in terms of the way Leicester obliterated them both home and away last season. Look at the positives from that, build from it, and at the minute, Southampton are just so fragile, and there's question marks over their ideas, their philosophies, conceding goals, not scoring many. So all the pressure is on Southampton, and if they don't start well, the crowd might be a bit agitated, and Leicester can really use that for their own advantage and go and express themselves and really get into Southampton early on and put the pressure onto them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, I'll go back on what I just said a minute ago. And after listening to that, this could be the time where you probably get as close as you're going to get to a complete performance. And, you know, because Southampton are fragile. You know, they well, I was going to use another analogy, I won't. But, I mean, they are struggling with 1 point on the board. I mean, how bad must they feel in the dressing room? Unless they have to take advantage of that psychological advantage that they have. They must make that count today.
And probably as well, if Leicester do get off to a good start, we don't know what the supporters are like down at Southampton at the moment. You don't really know how they're feeling, but 1 point from 7, there'll be some frustration, obviously. If Leicester get a good start, could the crowd maybe turn on Southampton themselves? That could also play in Leicester's hands.
I think so. In terms of, there's been accusations or suggestions that they haven't got the Premiership quality in terms of Southampton, and they're playing this idea of, yes, building from the back, but are they good enough to do that? And then even if it goes further forward, have they got that player or the ability to create chances? It hasn't quite been there for them. And then others are looking in thinking you might have to change your style, which Russell Martin isn't going to do. But the Southampton supporters will want results. They'll want points on the board. You can say you played so well, but eventually you have to pick something up. Now, if it goes badly for them to begin with, then I can see it turning. And yeah, there might be, it might work in Leicester's favour, that, in terms of the crowd sort of going against the team. It's all good playing the football, but if you're not getting anywhere, it's a results business, and Southampton at the minute aren't getting those results. And when others from the outside are looking in going, I'm not sure if they're even Premier League quality, it does start affecting you.
Yeah, I think for Leicester, going on the back of what Matty's saying, is do what you did against Southampton first half. Stay solid, first and foremost. Ride that wave of emotion that the fans will bring, that Southampton fans will bring in the first 15, 20 minutes or so. And don't give away soft goals. And if they do that, we've already spoke about the quality in the forward line. Quite easily see Leicester getting the result today.
Hopefully so. Right, let's hear from the Leicester City manager then, Steve Cooper. He's made one change today. El Khanou's in. Are you out? He was asked in his pre-match press conference ahead of this game against Southampton if the win against Bournemouth has relieved any pressure in the group.
There's always pressure on every team. I said that, you know, whatever you're playing for in this league, there's always pressure. There's not a moment that you can step away from that. I just think now it's great to get everybody back together. We got such a good opportunity now to build momentum, and we see some really good signs in what we're trying to do and what we want to become, and there's a lot of belief in that. And training days and game days are your constant opportunities to strive towards what we will be. And we're all really confident that will happen. And we're excited about it. So, got an opportunity now on the weekend to continue our progress, to build momentum. We see everything that's going on behind the scenes. Obviously, everyone else just sees a match day, and the results will paint certain pictures. But we know the direction that we're traveling in. We know where we're heading, and we're really excited about. Albeit it's a rocky road sometimes. But we're really excited about the journey ahead and taking it game by game, even day by day. But we're really motivated now and going to Southampton and trying to pick up where we left off.
Southampton still looking for that first win. You were having to answer questions about that before the international break. I'm wondering, in a way, does that make them even slightly more dangerous because they've got that desperation still to get that first win?
I think every game is. Every game is an opportunity. Every game can be a danger. It depends how you want to look at it. As I said to Damien before, we will be very respectful to every opponent. We will expect them to be at their best, but we more focused on whoever we're playing this weekend, on what we do and the stuff that we can achieve from the game. And without it just being, a positive result, we want to, build momentum. We want to continue with our belief. We want to continue with our confidence, and grow them things as well, because that's the stuff that really allows you to improve everything, that gets you the performance and the results that you want. And like I said, we're really, really excited about that.
Cheers, Steve. Good luck.
You too, mate. Thank you.
Steve Cooper there, speaking ahead of this game with Southampton and speaking actually very positively. And I guess there's always going to be positivity after a win. There's been 2 weeks, the break, of course, but he's saying, yeah, we're in a good place. We've been feeling in a good place probably all season, actually. Yeah. The win has now finally come. Let's build on it.
Yeah, I think, the main feeling for everyone around the training ground, us guys in here, has been one of frustration for most of the season. So that win that they had against Bournemouth was thoroughly deserved. And we've spoke about them riding along, but they deserve that because the performance level on the whole has been good. And so that gives, Steve something extra now to work on going into this game. He's got a few games coming up where as Forest next Friday night as well. So there's a few games coming up where
Ipswich after that,
where you're thinking, can Leicester get on a little run here? Get themselves into a little cushion, and that must be in the back of his mind. Obviously, he's not looking any more forward than the game today, obviously, but there's an opportunity, a little small window of opportunity here to build something, get some real momentum behind them.
I think when you look at the fixtures as well, you identify certain games.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could be seeing
certain runs.
Yes, at certain times, or you look at, could say potentially Southampton are rivals. So you look at it and think it's a really good opportunity, a chance to go down there, and it's not a 6-pointer, but again, a place where you'd back yourselves and think that it's one where you'd identify as a possibility of getting the 3 points. It's not taking your foot off the gas. Leicester's expectation and standards won't drop because they've had one victory. It's an easier place to be in than opposed to perhaps Southampton, where yes, they're going to be determined to go out and impress and try and work their way into the game. But there might be that fear as well with them, as Leicester won't have that fear. It's now, can we build on that first victory and kick on and show what we're about and have that confidence and belief, which probably isn't there within the Southampton camp at the minute.
And hopefully it's coursing through the side, particularly with that attacking lineup that we see today down on the south coast for us. We've got an attacking lineup in the commentary box with Chris Parrott and Matt Elliott. Matt's nodding his head. We can see you, Matt. Good afternoon to you. How was the trip down to the south coast, firstly?
Yes, suitably stressful, Daniel, as is usually the case. 2.5 hours to get it to Southampton in and around the vicinity, an hour and a half to get parked up. Numerous obstacles in my way. I had to almost pretend that I was one of the players' girlfriends or wives at one stage to get in a particular car park, but that wasn't working. And then got sent 15 minutes down the road. Fuming, stressed and slightly agitated, Chris, aren't I? Chris Parrott, commentator next to me. I'm likely to lash out at someone, and he's the nearest, so he's slightly fretful at the moment. But yeah, all's well now. Now we're in the stadium, all sat, nice and peaceful, calm, warm-ups going on. The sun is shining down on St Mary's for certainly 3/4 of the pitch. Could cause problems for the goalkeepers. But yeah, beautiful afternoon down on the south coast.
Yeah, if you're ready to unleash on someone, Matt, I won't make any jokes or references at your expense.
Well, you're all right from that distance. You're all right from that distance.
I'll unleash on you then, Matt.
Yeah, Gerald will. Hey, happy birthday, Tags, by the way, mate.
Thank you.
But yesterday, sorry.
Yeah.
And it would have been my father's birthday as well, as you know. And also Robbie Savage's
birthday.
Hey? That dispels the myth of star signs, doesn't it? With 3 totally different characters, they're all born on the same day.
Speaking of the football, Matt, there is that change. El Canute's come in, Jordan Ayew's dropped to the bench. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts in particular on that front four, if we can call it that?
Yeah, and hello, Matt, by the way. Sorry, mate, didn't want to leave you out. But yeah, it's the thing that sort of smacks you in the face, doesn't it? Because I was on the drive down here and I had plenty of time to ponder. I was thinking, which way is Steve Cooper going to go? Is he going to go with the 3 solid midfielders? Or is he going to have 2 holders, probably Skipman and Didi on the back of the last game, and go with the same lineup from the start, really, as I did against Bournemouth? And I didn't really consider Karius and Buonanotte being in the starting lineup together at this juncture. But there's been quite a bit of time since the last game, and now plenty of time for the manager to ponder things and have a look at things in training. And I think most people will be pleasantly surprised, really. I mean, a lot of talk about Fatawu, getting an opportunity from the start, and he's caught people on the hop a little bit there. Obviously, Karius looking sharp when he's seen him, and whether it was at Seagrave or away on international duty. But yeah, I think pleasantly surprised. Looking forward to how it unfolds. I've been talking to Chris, and I think most people probably agree, and you boys are the same. The crux of the game would seemingly be, can Leicester pinch the ball in dangerous areas? And Karius and Buonanotte, not renowned. Buonanotte busy enough actually on the press. Not Karius' strength, you wouldn't think. But it'd be interesting to see how they fare this afternoon on that front.
Matt, it's Tags again, buddy.
Hello, mate.
Just one.
Did you get any nice prezzies, Tags?
Well, I don't know. I haven't opened any. I haven't.
Did you get any cardigans and things like that these days?
Yeah, I got some socks from the mother-in-law.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff.
Anyway, let's talk food, big boy.
Well, it was all on the run, mate. All on the dash. But I managed to shovel a tray down me. Chicken curry and rice. Lovely samosas. Not up to Walsh's standard, but samosas on the side with lime pickled chutney and white yogurt. All in the company of Ian the Moose Abrahams, which left a bit of a sour taste in the mouth, and Scott Minto, which was more pleasurable.
Fantastic, Matt. Thank you very much. We'll let you calm down a little bit more. Hopefully, we've given you a little bit of a laugh there. Let's help calm down your driving
I'm cool now.
situation down there. Thank you to Matt. As we've just been hearing there, a change up top for the Foxes. That front four, Matt's excited by it, Jerry, and he sort of echoed basically what both of you said as well.
Yeah, I think it's how you perceive the lineup to be as a manager, or as Matt perceives it, or as I perceive it. You know, for me, I'd maybe have gone with Ayew, stuck Buonanotte in the middle and stuck Ayew out there just to have that solid base, see how the game goes. But, you know, credit to the manager, he's gone for it. Simple as that. You know, El Khanous, I'm not saying he struggled, but he made his debut and then he came on a sub last week for a bit. And he's not struggling, but it's just he's taking his time to bed himself in, I think, a little bit. Whereas Ayew is, you know, Premier League ready, has been for donkey's years, and you know what you're going to get from him. So that's the only reason why I have that concern. But in saying that, the manager's the one that watches him day in, day out.
Yeah, it does take time in terms of when you've been overseas to come in, adapting, and especially to the speed of the Premier League. But El Khanous, it's a great opportunity for him. He's a talented player. Can he go and affect it in that 10 role? Can he make things happen? Can he get shots away? Can he be creative? And then off the ball, can he go and press, work hard to win it back and then open up the game? But it's a great chance for him, and we've seen only in bits in terms of what he can produce, in terms of his ability on the ball and how he can make things happen. But again, he's just sort of settling in. But it's a big call in terms of from the manager. But it's the backing for El Khanous. Hopefully he can deliver that chance, and it's a good opportunity for him today.
And at the other end of the pitch then, Jerry, the back five now that we've become accustomed to, really, haven't we? They're coming up against a side, you rightly said, they've only scored 4 goals in their 6 games so far. They'll hopefully be quietly confident of picking up another clean sheet. What in particular do they need to do? Cameron Archer's a lively forward. They've got
absolutely.
Ben Brereton Diaz on the bench.
Yeah.
They do have options. They do have threatening players.
Absolutely. I think just carry on. But for me, having a good backline or a solid backline is all about your positional sense, where you should be in certain areas of the pitch at certain times. And we've seen that with great effect 2 weeks ago against Bournemouth. So for me, it's about that cohesion between the backline, the keeper, and obviously the 2 guys that are standing in front of you, the midfielders. And you become a solid block then. With them 5, 6, 7 players, that's the basis of your solid block. But for me, the main thing is understanding the game and making sure that you get your bodies and your brains in the right area and in the right frame of mind at certain times on the pitch. And if they do that, I'm not saying Southampton won't cause them problems, because rightly, like you said, they will cause them problems, but hopefully they're able to cope with it like they were against Bournemouth.
Yeah, as a former forward, do you look at the two of Fass and Okoli and think that will be tough to come up against, because they both complement each other in different ways?
They do. Okoli's come in and been superb, obviously. He offers that pace and power. And then Fass, when he's concentrated, when he's focused on his defending, like he was last time out, he's a very good defender. It's when he loses that concentration or becomes erratic trying to win balls that he can't. But when he's set, it's a formidable partnership in terms of what they both offer and complementing one another. So Okoli's come in, and obviously Fass has upped his game as well, but I think he has to. I think at times at the Championship, he was very comfortable in what he did. Wasn't tested that much and could ease off at times, but he knows he's got to be on his game. And as you pointed out, Archer's a live wire, so they've got to be aware of that. But I think they've got more than enough to deal with him, and especially with the fullbacks tucking in, the 2 lads in front, and make it difficult. And it's also hard for a lone forward as well. With Archer, he's got to make all the runs himself. He's got a stick. So, yeah, I'm sure Leicester as a partnership and a defensive line have got more than enough to take care of Archer.
Yeah, the more they play with each other, Okoli and Fass, Jerry.
Absolutely. I forgot that point. Good point. Obviously, we've seen this backline for the majority of the season, if not all the games in the Premier League this season, which is a major plus, because they get to know each other that little bit better each and every time they go out onto the pitch. And that's why you hear managers and coaches to talk about, you never changing, a winning line, or you never change your back line if they're doing well. Because the more you have them on the pitch, the better, the more solid they can become by understanding each other's games. And that's hopefully what you're going to see between Okoli and Fass. And there was just one incident last time out against Bournemouth where Fass let him have it verbally, Okoli, because he didn't cover him. And those are the little sort of nuances.
You'll like seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't see it that often. So to see Fass giving a Collier and saying, you should be round covering for me. I shouldn't have to run back for that ball. That's your ball to come round and win. That's what I'm talking about. Those little nuances that help you get over the line.
Yeah, classic Jerry Taggart, if you like. And speaking of classic Jerry Taggart, we saw a brief glimpse of it at the start of the show, didn't we? Because it was your birthday yesterday as well. We had to pay you a big compliment, Jerry, and look back. A classic goal against Southampton. Shock, it's a Steve Guppy corner, isn't it?
Textbook. Downward header. Won the game, that header. 1-0.
Yeah.
Taggart. Steve Guppy. Great ball and just muscled the centre half. He was marking me out of the way.
It's hard to stop that in terms of the aggression, bang at it.
I mean, look at...
Not many people are stopping that
Look
run.
at the guy I've just got. He did know what hit him. It was like a train that just ran into the back of him.
It's like a salmon.
And even Matt getting involved in the celebration.
He'd have loved to score a goal like that.
Yeah, he never did actually score ahead of that powerfully. Right, let's get a reminder of today's team news as we build up closer and closer to kick-off. We're just under a quarter of an hour now away from that. This is how Leicester line up. It's Mads Hermansen in goal, Christensen, Fass, Akoli and Justin across the back four. Skip and Ndidi in midfield with Mavididi, El Kanous who comes in, and Facundo Buenanotte, the scorer last time out, of course. They're all in support of number 9, Jamie Vardy. From a Southampton point of view, just 1 point from their opening 7 so far for Russell Martin in their return to the Premier League, of course, coming up with the Foxes. They have Ramsdale in goal, Manning, Bednarek and Harwood-Bellis are the back 3. Walker-Peters and Sugawara are the 2 wing-backs. Aribo and Downs in midfield with Fernandez and Dibbling supporting the live wire, Cameron Archer. A couple minutes, Matty, before we hand over to our commentary team. We've been speaking about it, haven't we? We've been speaking about the fact that it's an opportunity. This little run of fixtures, starting, you can argue, with Bournemouth a couple of weeks ago, into Southampton away today, Forest at home next week. There's an opportunity to pick up points. Hopefully they can continue that. If they can get another 3 today, that sees them go above West Ham. It sees them start to pick up the amount of points that you feel that the performances have deserved this season. Yeah,
there's a real opportunity in terms of, you look at the fixtures, but it starts today, building on last time out, and really go at Southampton in terms of being on that front foot. We haven't even mentioned Jamie Vardy. His record against Southampton is phenomenal. You get that sometimes with forwards. You play against a certain team and you just score all the time against them, and his record against Southampton is brilliant. So hopefully he'll carry on today in terms of getting amongst the goals. But it's a really good chance. The fixtures look favourable, but you've got to go and produce, regardless of where they're positioned or what you could identify as winnable fixtures. You've still got to go and deliver, and it's all there. It's got the makings of go and do it, and there's a real good opportunity.
Yeah, I think, I touched on it. Take advantage of the psychological advantage that you have. Never mind the ability, the pace, whatever else. Leicester.
Does it make that much of a difference?
Yeah, because I think absolutely you've got to realise when an opportunity like this comes your way, and both teams are still in a dogfight, along with 3 or 4 or 5, 6 other teams. But you have to say that the psychological advantage is with Leicester. They have to take advantage of that today. And there's ways of doing that. And the first way you do it is stay solid, don't concede early, don't concede soft. And then hopefully the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, and if they keep that clean sheet and do what they've done in every single other game,
they will score.
Which is score, then they'll win the game, of course. Leicester alongside Man City and Arsenal, by the way, the only teams that have scored in each of their Premier League games so far this season. Let's hope that continues this afternoon down on the South Coast. Our commentary team today for you is Matt Elliott, who finally made it into the grounds, alongside Chris Parrott. Chris Parrott, the commentator, of course, as Leicester won 9-0 down on the South Coast a few years ago. We've got all the action coming up next.